Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you with this truth, giving all praise to YAHAWAH, Shem YAHAWASHI, Shem Rakakadash. And I'm going to do a breakdown on Revelation, the 8th chapter, chapter 8. I'm going to go right into it because we wanted to go into this over the weekend, but we started, but we didn't finish it. Anyway, here, let's do it. Revelation 8 verse 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. So that literally means a half an hour. So John, the apostle, was writing down, scribing down all of the events that were taking place, all these visions. It was like a big movie. And he saw all these things happening but didn't understand them, but he wrote it down. So there was a point in time when nothing happened for about a good half an hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before the Most High, and to them were given seven trumpets. Now the seventh trumpet represents this destruction, because we got to be out of here in between before the seventh trumpet is blown, and that's when the Lord and the angels come back to deliver the elect from the four corners of the earth, and the missiles come, and the destruction comes and shakes this earth. That's the seventh trumpet or seventh angel. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before the Most High out of the angel's hand. So I don't have to explain that. You know what the altar is, you know what incense are, you know what the prayer of the saints are. The prayer of the saints are the Israelites, the elect. Fifth verse, Revelation 8 verse 5. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake, and that's this destruction. And what's going to make the earth to quake? These missiles. And the seventh angel. So Revelation, the 8th chapter, is yet to take place. And the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third, now let's read that again, the 7th verse again. The first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. I'm going to show you that this is, let me do it this way. This hell represents just want to bring it up. Okay, this is in Revelation Revelation 11 verse 19 and Revelation 16 verse 21. It says, let's go to Revelation 11:19. And the temple of the Most High was open in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. Revelation 16 verse 21, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. Now a talent is about 100 pounds weight. And this what he saw, he thought it was these gigantic pieces of hell just falling on men, destroying them, destroying buildings and so forth. What he actually saw were missiles. And it said that men blasphemed the Most High because of the plague of the hell, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. And that hell, as I said, are missiles. So John couldn't say, well, I saw ICBM missiles. You know, what he saw was ICBM missiles, and he saw the multiple warheads that came out of the cone or the head of the missile. It tells you that in Revelation, the 9th chapter, and what their heads do, they do hurt. Those are the hell that he saw, like I said, represented these multiple nuclear warheads. So he actually saw World War III taking place in living color in the form of a movie or a hologram. So he wrote it down. So now let's go back to Revelation 8 verse 7. The first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire. And by the way, these 7, I said we got to be out of here by the 7th angel. Really, we got to be out of here before the first angel or sounds his trumpet. Now when you go throughout the book of Revelation, it speaks about angels, it speaks about trumpets, it speaks about troubles. So when you go to the last couple of verses, or the last verse of Revelation 8 verse 13, it seems like it's you know, as a matter of fact, let me go to that. It says, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. So this right here, this whole chapter is referring to the destruction, broken up into 7 angels. And so that's why a lot of people get confused when they start reading the Revelation in the 9th chapter, which goes back into time. It covers World War I, World War II, and World War III. It says back in Revelation 8 verse 7, the first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire mingled with blood. The blood is from the people that are being destroyed by these missiles. So he saw hell, which in reality he saw missiles, and he saw the multiple warheads, because what's at the end of an ICBM missile? Fire. And they cast upon the and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Now that third part represents the sons of the wicked. You have 3 classifications of men, which goes back to Genesis: the sons of the Most High, or the sons of God; the sons of men, which are the nations; and the sons of the wicked, which are you Edomites. So this third part represents anywhere Esau is located. Well, mainly it's talking about America, because all of America is going to be destroyed, but there's going to be other parts of the planet that's going to be destroyed where Edom dwells, but it's going to be built back up. The land of Israel, the current land of Israel, will be completely destroyed, but Israel will be built back up. America will not be built back up. It will be desolate forever. And no one will be able to go to America. The only living things that will be in America are these desert creatures. 8th verse. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Now that's talking about, that's also referring to the missiles in the form of one gigantic missile. It was what he saw was this attack. So verse 7 and verse 8 go together. Now let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, this is Jeremiah 51 verse 25. Well, let me read this, and I may go up a verse or go down a verse or two. Jeremiah 51 verse 25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. And the destroying mountain represents America, and it represents as a whole Esau's power structure. Saith the Lord, and I say America because that's a military that's used to attack other sovereign lands. You know, it seems like the U.S. troops always go first, or if another European troops go into a particular land, the U.S. troops will finish the job. So in one way or another, if there's a major war, like all these military nations that possess missiles and great militaries, they're all going to converge in the Middle East, because something's going to happen where they're all going to stop what they're doing, and they're all going to converge in the Middle East, in the Levant, and that's when the destruction comes. So many scriptures come to mind. Joel 2, Revelation 20 verse 7. So many scriptures that come to mind. There's other scriptures that come to mind. I'm not going to speak on them. Isaiah 13, Isaiah 24, Isaiah 14, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51. I always think of those scriptures. Revelation 18, it said, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. That destroying mountain is Esau's government, and it's mainly focusing on America. Even though the orders come out of London from the super elite, saith the Lord, which destroyeth all the earth. And I will stretch out mine hand, and hand meaning power, upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. And how is the Most High going to make thee? This is parabolic. How is the Most High going to make this place a burnt mountain? Because he's going to destroy it with those missiles. So now when we come back to Revelation 8, in 8 verse 8, it says, and the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. So that burning mountain cast into the sea represent America. America being, and actually what happened was John the Apostle saw missiles hitting America. It's also another scripture come to mind, Isaiah 34. This is the great altar that the Most High is going to burn. He's going to burn this altar. This place is going to be the ultimate sacrifice. The biggest sacrifice in the history of the world is going to be here on the soil of America. It says, burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. The third part of the sea represents anywhere Esau has its navy. Anywhere, any territory of water that Esau is set up in. On 9th verse, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. Why? Because the radiation from the missiles contaminated those waters. Now, eventually, the waters that are contaminated will be cleansed. But like I said, the United States of America will be the biggest desert on the planet Earth, and no one will be able to walk on the land of America except these desert-like creatures. That's also in Isaiah 30, the 34th chapter. It says, in the third part of the ships were destroyed. The third part of the ships represent what? Esau's ships. His military is going to be completely destroyed. His navy, his air force. It says there were no place found in heaven in Revelation the 12th chapter. 10th verse, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the Esau's rivers, bodies of water, and upon the fountains of the waters. So you won't be able to drink any water. And the name of the star is called wormwood.
Strong's G 894. Obscentheon. Obscentheon.
Okay, it says wormwood, the name of a star which fell into the waters and made them bitter, meaning contaminated them. It represents and the word wormwood is only written one time in the scriptures, or two times, and that's in the same chapter and verse, Revelation 8 verse 11. So the waters, the rivers, the lakes, the parts of certain oceans and bodies of water will be contaminated, so you can't drink from that water. So let's read the 11th verse again. And the name of the star is called wormwood, which means the word Chernobyl. If you remember the disaster at Chernobyl in Russia, that Russian word translates into the word wormwood, which means contaminate. And the third part of the waters became wormwood or contaminated, and many men died of the waters because they were drinking contaminated waters. And it's not talking about alcohol. It's talking about the waters being contaminated because they were made bitter. Bitter meaning contaminated. You know what? Let me look up the word bitter in itself.
Strong's G 4087. Pecrino. Pecrino.
Pecrino. To make bitter, to produce a bitter taste in the stomach, to embitter, exasperate, render angry, Now this term right here, let me go down. This is also written in Revelation 10 verse 9. It's when John ate the little book, which represents the scriptures. It said in his mouth it was sweet as honey, and in his belly it became bitter. Meaning, when you come into this truth, you're happy to understand that you are Israelites, and you know the whole nine. I'm not gonna go all into it. So you look forward to join the camp, but then you have certain individuals that get weak. They don't want to do this no more, and then they eventually fall off or get kicked out. So that's the bitter part. But in Revelation 8, where we at in 11, the actual word there, wormwood and bitter, actually means contamination, to be contaminated. That's why it said, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Now, if you drink bitter water, it's not going to kill you, but contaminated water will kill you. 12 verse, Revelation 8 verse 12, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part, meaning Esau, the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. So the third part of the stars was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of the day of it, and the night likewise. Now you might look up into the heavens and see the sun and the moon and the stars and the daytime and the nighttime, and you say, well, wait a minute, how can the Most High blot out a third part of it? Well, it represents wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And stars being in the heaven represents you being on top, so to speak. It's not talking about actual stars. It's talking about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So, in other words, they're not going to come back. They're not going to have any way to, like you see these movies. There was one movie called Armageddon. This guy was in it. Ben Affleck was in it, and a couple other actors, and they saved the world from an impending danger. That's not going to happen, man. Or the movie ID4. The ships came down and destroyed parts of America, but then they came back, and the aliens caught a virus, and the War of the Worlds, the angels caught a virus, which most likely would happen if they were actual physical beings. But when the angels come, they're not going to catch no virus. So Esau is not going to save the day. They're not going to have any bright ideas to figure. And then before this destruction comes, there will be tensions with all these nations going down into the Levant, or right smack in the middle of the Middle East, and they're not going to come out. Joel, the 2nd chapter, tell you that. It says, and I beheld, 13 verse, and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. So the destruction is going to come in stages, and then the ultimate destruction is going to come when these missiles come and destroy this place. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom, and it's on to the next one. Shalom.